Welcome to Custom Tables for ACT 2010 or better. What is a custom table? A custom table is an area in the ACT program that'll store additional information, much like the activities stores information. You can have one or multiple activities attached to a contact. Well, a custom table, well, right here we see we have an automobile table. So on this record, Chris Hoffman, we have two automobiles attached to Chris Hoffman. And if I wanted to modify those records, I could just double click and enter it. This is a custom data entry form. You can add any field of data. You can add business logic, math functions, custom word templates that'll merge information from this table into, of course, a Word document or a PDF. On this custom data entry form, you can have different looks at it. So you may have a order entry department and an order fulfillment department. So I'm looking at this drop down here. I can go and look at the information, same record in the custom table, in a completely different view. This is user preferences, so I can set this up. This is how I see this custom table. And on here, we can just pick out a couple of things, like, of course, which contacts this automobile is attached to, who the record manager is, who's the salesperson, start date, end dates. Again, these are fields that you can add. If you have a calculation field, you can add those in here too. You can add currency, character, memo fields, numeric fields. Any field that ACT supports natively, we also support. Inside of this custom table, we also can have a child table. So for this automobile, which happens to be a Challenger by Dodge, we can have billable events. So you can see I have 4 billable events on this particular automobile. If I was to double click on there, I can look at this billable event. I can look at the descriptions, again, completely customizable. You can even have it looking like this, which is a simpler time billed data entry. And this one has math functions on it. So I can say our rate is $200 times 3 hours, and that's a $600 entry. This is the time billed events. On this automobile custom table, we can track activities also. These are ACT's native to-dos, meetings, and so forth. If I was to attach an activity to this project or to this automobile, it will show up in the native task list and the calendar view. So here I have a to-do, I have a meeting scheduled regarding this automobile. If I was to look at a different automobile, let's go to the Corvette, I have a different set of activities and a different set of time billed events on here. So let's go and look at a different third look at our data entry screen. So here we have a data entry screen that is just one large memo field at the bottom. So say if we wanted to add fields to this, I'm going to show you our designer. So from here, I'm going to click on the design button at the top. It's going to take the current form I'm looking at and open it up in the design area. Now, the design area works just like ACT's design. I can resize things. So I can move this down. And over here on the upper left, we have a toolbox. So on my toolbox, I have different tools I can use. This is the fields. These are the current fields in the database. This is a new field if I wanted to add new fields. These are panels for visuals. Like, let's take a panel and drag it onto the screen here. So I have a panel. And we have a list view. So these are the parent-child lists. So say if I wanted to create a custom sub-entity with service calls or time billed events, I can grab my time billed child table. All I need to do is drag it onto the screen and it's done. It's now recording parent-child data. Let's go back to these fields. These are the fields that are in the current database. So I can actually take my make field and drag it over here. I can take the model field, drag it here, and I'll make the manufacturer field here. Record creator, again, these are just different fields inside of the ACT database. I can move on to there. and let's just say record creator. I'm going to drag it on. When I drag it, it gives me the data entry drop down option, but it also by default puts a label on there. If you want to change the label, you can go down here and just say, owner, whatever the label you want to say, you can change the label that quickly. Record manager. Okay, we have other fields. We're just going to drag and drop. And if you're noticing, I'm actually holding down my mouse right now, that it has a targeting system. So it's kind of a snap to grid. So it's going to come along and snap it and show me what's aligned, and I can release that object. So let's take the start date, drag it on, and I want to put that right next to the model. And as I see, I'm doing that by these fields over here. So very quickly, I can create, and I'm using my right arrow right now, just to nudge this over so I can see the word manufacturing. Again, as you can see, I am just taking a simple text box and I am aligning it to the top and bottom to the left side, that vertical, and the horizontal axis is to the manufacturing. So there, I've done it. I've added my new fields into here. I'm going to say save. File was saved, and then we can just say file and exit. And now you can see that this is the field that we have changed. So the data entry has been consumed, the changes to it. And again, we can go back up here and look at our different data entry fields that we have. Okay, let's save and close this down. And again, this was just for the automobiles. You can create multiple tables. I have an equipment table. I have a service call table. And on the service call table, I have ticket numbers. These ticket numbers are automatically incremented. So if I was to create a new ticket number right now, create a new record, we're up to ticket number 8. So auto increments for us. So we'll always have uniqueness of our ticket numbers. Okay, you might want to say, so, okay, I want to get a custom table into my database. Where do I start? Well, you start by going to your Tools menu and pulling down to Impact Suite. Inside of Impact Suite, again, once Impact Suite is installed in ACT, you'll find that menu. And I'm going to go over here to my tables. This shows me the custom tables that are currently installed. First time in, this entry is going to be blank for you. So you want to start by going to the template area. These are templates, 30 plus different templates for custom tables. It's a great starting off point. You can add an automobile table, an equipment table, an event tracking table, and that's your starting point. So let's just look at this event tracking. And if I want to look at this pre-designed data entry screen, I can just hit enlarge to preview. So that's what my data entry screen is going to look like after I install this template. And let's just go and look at another one. Like let's go back and look at automobiles. We'll enlarge this preview. This is the automobile template that we installed originally, time build and events, activities tracked to this automobile. But if you just remembered, I had 3 different looks at this data entry screen. There's no one specific pattern that we use. It's whatever order that you need the data to be captured on, you can design that. So again, you can come along to the templates tab, highlight which template you want to use, and on this lower right hand button, click on install selected templates. It takes about a minute because it adds the custom table, the schema, math functions, custom word templates, everything that's necessary for you to start capturing your data. Once that template is installed, if you go back to your tables, you're going to see your tables showing up here. Say OK to this. Now, when you have a new custom table in the database, there's actually 2 views to it. One view is when you're looking at Chris Huffman's record and you go to the equipment table, equipment tab, you're going to see all the pieces of equipment attached to Chris Huffman. But I want to see all the pieces that are attached to everybody, much like your activities. I can have 3 activities attached to Chris Huffman, which is all great, but I want to see all the activities I need to do today. That's an activity list. Well, over here on the left-hand side, our navigation bar, we have those master list views. So let's go into the equipment master list view. And here we have two pieces of equipment. They're both attached to Chris Huffman. If we had others, they would show up in here. So I can go into here and say, oh, let me see all my service calls that I have to do today. These are service calls that are attached to all the pieces of equipment, and I can start saying, oh, I want my service call date dispatched, and I can see that we have somebody dispatched on July 29th. So I can be looking at this like a task list and say, hey, I have 14 service calls scheduled against 3 pieces of equipment. I need to get my guys out on the road. If I was to look at this service call, I can double click and edit from here. That's my service ticket number 7. But that service ticket is attached to an equipment. If I wanted to look at that parent equipment field, if I right click on here, I can just say open the parent, and it takes me to that parent equipment record. So I can see, hey, it's with Chris Huffman, it's model number ADFGH, when it was purchased, and all that information that's specific to that equipment. But now I can see all the times I've been dispatched to that piece of equipment, and reasons being, we can have a notes field down here to say, oh, we repaired a motor, it was burned out. Again, specific notes for each event that you went to that client site. Now, you may not be traveling to client sites. You may just be doing billing on here. So we have a billing table. And I'm going to leave you with this. Not only do we have this billing table that we can come in and look at all of our billable events, we could drill into one and, again, look at our billable events in many different formats. But these billable events, we can actually total these up. I'm going to right-click, edit the column, and I'm going to say I want the total of that value. So I can see I have $3,590 in billable events on this list. At the top of this custom table, you're seeing a chart. Well, those charts can be turned on and off just by using this header button. So I'm going to go header. I'm going to close this chart. That's the way you see it naturally or by default. And if I come in here and I say I want to go and see my chart, it's an inline dashboard or a chart on the custom table. You can have multiple charts on here, and you can design your chart. So I'm going to go in here and edit the chart. And right now it's saying what the created date is, and it's giving me a count of the created dates, and it's set by month. So I can actually change this and say, well, I want to set this by year. And as you can see, that's very simple. We break that chart into year. Say I want to change it by week. I can say by week. Now, that's showing me the week and everything. I can then say, well, show me today and the next 30 days. So just by using this criteria, we are actively hunting our time billed events. And not only are we hunting them down and looking for them, it's showing us our totals right in an inline chart. So that is the complete session that we have for today. So you want to go to durkincomputing.com and download the evaluation of the Impact Suite. Again, once the Impact Suite is downloaded and installed, you will go to your Tools menu and go to the Impact Suite. And for custom tables, you'll probably start out with one of our templates. Okay, thank you very much for attending.